Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of A Girl Business Podcast. Many of you know my adorable niece, Winter, and you may have seen the video I did where I stuffed two, because she's spoiled, Easter bags full of products from women business-owning businesses. I don't know if I said that right, but you get what I mean. Anyways, most of the products were from Rosanna. So I'm here with owner of Heaven Sent Goat Milk Products, Rosanna, and she's going to tell us her story from top to bottom. So however far back you want to go, the girlies love all the details. So take it from the top.
Okay, well, in around 1998, I had a friend that's a rancher gal, does it all by herself, and she wanted to give my daughter a horse. And I told her there's no way we would own a horse. I grew up in the city. I didn't know anything about farm animals. So she called and she said, well, we went up for a visit, and Jennifer fell in love with these baby goats that looked like puppy dogs. They were so cute, really long ears. And Diane said, I'm going to send her one. I said, no, you're not. We're not doing goats. Well, about 4 months later, I get a call from Diane, and she said, her boyfriend Joe is on his way down with a prize for Jen, but it's not the one she wanted. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't want a goat. Well, he's already gone. If you don't meet him, he's going to let it loose in the desert, and it's a baby. So I went up and met him, and it was this goat with no ears. And I just thought, oh, Jennifer's going to hate this goat. So I took it home. I opened the back of the truck, and she's all excited because it's coming from Diane's. And there's this little goat with no ears. And she said, I hate it, and stormed into the house. And I'm like, oh, great. Now we have a goat that we hate. So I put it down with the 4-H lambs in the pen. Anyway, she learned to love that goat, and the goat kept getting the chicken crumbles. And me not knowing anything about goats, and the vet didn't have a lot of knowledge about goats. She had one baby, and then she passed away. So I told Jen, well, now you can get a goat with long ears. And she's like, no, I want another no-eared goat. I love my no-eared goat. So a friend of ours that she'd been doing goat shows with, helping her go to goat shows, called and said, Winterwoods has a La Mancha doeling for Jennifer. And I'm like, I can't afford that, because they were like $400 or $500. And she said, oh, no. They're only charging Jen, I think it was $75. So we drove down and got Mystery. Mystery lived in the house in diapers.
Oh, little house goat.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to have back surgery, and I don't sit still very well.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't drive or do anything. I was stuck out in the end of Genesee at Arcade Ranch. And a gal down the street brought me a recipe book for goat milk soap. And she said, here, do something with all the milk that Jen's getting from her dairy goat. So I started making soap, and I had a ball, made all kinds, gave it away to everybody. And then Josh Huddleston from Greenville called and asked me if I would make soap for their store. And I said no, because my friend that gave me the recipe, that's what she did. So I referred them to her. And then Emily's Garden, because I had worked for Emily for years doing piecework.
Emily Webb?
Mm-hmm. Called and asked me if I could make soap for her. And I was like, well, I'm going to refer you to this other gal. Well, the other gal didn't fall through. Mm-hmm. So they both called me back, and I was like, okay, I guess. So on January 1st, 2000, Heaven Sent was born. I had been doing piecework with Emily. I'd worked with her for a long, long time. So I had a little bit of knowledge of business. I never intended of going into business. So there we were. And the first 2 years, I shipped soap all over the world. I had accounts in Japan. I had one in England. It was really a lot of fun. And then we had a major life event, and I kind of let the business die. And it brought itself back. So Heaven Sent has died off a couple of times and built itself back up. I think we're on the third or fourth round now after the Dixie fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my daughter raised La Mancha dairy goats, and we did the dairy goat show circuit. And then she got into the boar goats, the me goats. So she had half and half. And we did the show circuit for them. One year we took a bunch of kids and dairy goats and went all the way to Montana for a national show.
Oh, how fun.
And that was interesting because we had to have some place to camp where we could let the goats out, the girls could milk them and do all the things. Yeah, that was a really fun adventure. And then when she graduated, she didn't want to keep any of her goats. And I had heaven sent and it was going full blown. So I was like, okay, well, I will pick who I want to keep does out of. And I just kept a couple of them. Actually, I think I kept one of the boar goat does and a buck and 2 dairy goats. And so my dairy goat herd goes all the way back to her original herd.
That's really special.
Yeah.
Oh, so all the goats you have are from that original one that she originally hated.
Yeah. Yeah. We only replace our bucks. We've not bought any outside does. So there you have it. Yeah.
That is so special. So it's really like the line of does that create all these products. It's like a matriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that is really special.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have really heavy milkers, so I'm trying to breed down to less heavy milkers right now.
How do you do that?
Well, when you breed, you look at the characteristics of your doe and then the buck, and well, we need better teats. So you look at the parents of the buck and pick out one that's going to help with your teats or your udder capacity. My goats will milk out at 1.5 gallons on milking, where a lot of people only will get 3/4 to 1 gallon.
Wow.
So I would like to get down to that because I have 2 does I'm going to be milking here pretty soon. And that's a lot of milk for my business, for my household.
Yeah. To store and...
To store. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So you said that when you got the original goat, and I'm sorry, what was the original goat's name?
Mystery.
Mystery. So with Mystery, you said that you put her with the lambs, or the sheep.
Oh, that was Bambi. Bambi, her very first goat. My kids were raising sheep for 4-H.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many years had you been doing that before you got the goats?
Probably about 10 years, because we started with my oldest son in 4-H. He started with pegs, and then when he aged out, my younger son did pigs for a couple of years, and then he decided he wanted to do sheep. So again, I knew nothing about lambs. So he did a lamb, and then when Jennifer got old enough, they have to be 9 to raise market animals, she got a lamb. So for 2 years, Jen did lambs. Jason kind of stuck with the lambs. I think he only did market goat a couple of years. So yeah, and I'm still involved in 4-H.
And coming from the city, how was it? Was it your kid's idea? Like, hey, Mom, I want to have farm animals. I want to be in 4-H.
Jared, my oldest son, was really good friends with Wesley Neer, and Wes did pigs or hogs in 4-H. And so he kept talking to Jared about it, and Jared kept asking, and finally I was like, okay. So we lived in Taylorsville. We built a hog pen that was bear proof and all the good things, and got 2 hogs, and they had a really good hog leader. So that was good because I knew nothing about pigs. Yeah.
So you kind of got peer pressured into, now you're like a pro with the animals.
Well, not a pro, but yeah. Yeah, I had no intentions of ever having a business. And I was just going to do, I can't think of Josh's store in Greenville. For them and Emily, I wasn't going to do anything else. And then it just kind of snowballed. And yeah.
And it was all word of mouth, or?
Yeah. And then I had, relatives calling, oh, wow, my friend wants some soap. And so with Emily's encouragement, I went online and I looked up into a website that was called Over Coffee. And it was kind of like Etsy, but not Etsy. They did your webpage for you. It was all through them. It was really inexpensive. I didn't have to build a website. So I started with them, and I was a wholesale manufacturer, is what I licensed for, not retail. And I was with them for, I think, 2, maybe 3 years. And then our big life event that I was just like, okay, I just need to, shut this down for a minute. When I went to go back, Over Coffee was out of business, and I can't remember who bought them out. So I decided I needed to build my own website. So I went to Yahoo Site Builder. Great place to build your own website. It's very time consuming, but it was so easy. And I was with them from about, I guess, 2005 until the Dixie Fire. And I could go in and do stuff all on my own. I started out doing all my own labeling and everything because, that's so expensive. Yeah.
It's crazy how when you start a business, you have to learn, like you have a soap business, right? A goat milk product business. But then you had to learn how to make a website, how to make labels. Like owning a business forces us to get into so many other fields.
Well, and the laws behind selling body care products, because you have to have the weight. You have to have on there somewhere where it's made. And then, of course, you have to have all the ingredients. And if you have a product like my sugar scrubs, there's a warning on there. Try it on a small spot of your body to see if you have a reaction so that I'm not liable if somebody has an allergic reaction. There's a lot of ins and outs.
Yeah. A lot of paperwork and a lot of, it's just a lot.
It is a lot.
And if you don't love it, then it's just not going to work out, I don't think. It's labor of love.
There have been a few times, especially since the Dixie Fire, that I've kind of gone, I'm really tired. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then I have to stop and think, what would you do? Because I'm going to keep the goats because I like making my own dairy products for myself to eat. And they're manure for my garden. I want all the benefits that come along with them. And it's like, I'm not real social. I have my little cluster of really good friends, and going out vending to the markets, and that gets me out there. So I always have to stop and think, what would you do? You would probably just become a hermit. And people like my products. I know I told you before, I lost everything in the Dixie Fire. My business was 22, 23 years old. And I just decided I'm done. I shut the website down. I didn't even have a bar of my own soap or a bottle of my own lotion. I had to go to retail stores in Quincy and get my own products. And just thought, I'm done. I had friends that were housing my animals for me and taking care of everything. One of my really good friends, Melissa Hayes, does the Pasanke eggs and the crocheting. They took my goats out to their house, and one of them was still in milk. So she was having to milk her, and she called. I was staying at my daughter's apartment at that time, and asked me what to do with the milk. And I told her, just dump it. Just dump it. And she said, okay. And she was having to hand milk, God bless her, because she had never had dairy goats to milk. And then I moved on to her property, her and her husband's property out in Meadow Valley in my 29-foot RV. And I had my goats with me. My chickens weren't with me. They were with another. Oh, no, I guess I did get my chickens, and they were in Meadow Valley too. So it was me, the goats, the chickens, and the dogs in Meadow Valley in a 29-foot RV. And it was around the 1st of November, Melissa came out to the RV and she said, well, what do you need to make soap? And I said, I'm not making soap anymore. I'm done. Well, I just booked this into the Alpha Christmas Craft Fair at the fairgrounds. We've been doing that. I've been doing that for longer than I was making soap because I sold other stuff before the soap. And I was looking at it and I said, I don't have any soap. I don't have any equipment. I have nothing. what do you need? Rusty needs to know what you need as far as tools. So I made a list of everything I needed. And she said, and do you know your recipe? And I said, yeah, it's in my head. And she said, write it down right now so I don't forget it. So we went to town and then I looked at her. I said, I don't have any milk. I have to have milk. And she said, oh, you have a freezer full.
Oh, she was saving it.
She was freezing the milk. So yeah, we rounded up the basics. And I made 3 different kinds of soap and did 2 craft fairs for Christmas that year.
Mm-hmm. I bet you did really good.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And I still have people calling and emailing me, inviting me on Facebook. We can't find your website. We don't know where to buy your stuff. So I'm just working out of here.
Yeah. So at what point did you decide, hey, maybe I should have a shop?
Buying this piece of property was an adventure. It was a house and a lot just full of garbage. It took a lot to clean it up. And my goats were still in Meadow Valley, so we threw up a temporary pen. And I thought, this isn't fair to them. So we needed a barn. So I helped. I had some guy help me put the barn up. And then I thought, the house is a 1-bedroom. There's not a whole lot of room in there. There's not enough room for heaven's sake. So I ordered the shed, thinking, well, this will work for now. And once we got the shed up, then I had some place to put my products and store them. And then it was like, well, my gift shop in Greenville was in my backyard in a shed. Why not do it here? My house in Greenville, when I bought it, it was overgrown with Virginia creeper. And I was cleaning that all up. And I'm on my hands and knees. I found a bicycle underneath it, all kinds of treasures. And I'm cutting it away. And I look up and there's a handle to a door. I'm like, there's nothing there. So I cleared it all away. Well, it was the handle to a shed that I didn't know was in my backyard. It's like the secret garden. So my son wanted a place for music. He was a percussion artist. So I told him, well, fine, you can have the shed. So he insulated the whole thing, put laminate flooring down, put electricity into it. It was beautiful. But he never moved his equipment in it. Mm-hmm. And then it became a spare bedroom that my daughter stayed in for a little while. And then it was starting to become a storage unit for my kids' stuff. And they were all adults. So I just thought, okay, we're not going to do this. You know what? I'm going to put a store in here. And it's in my backyard. I don't have to pay rent space anywhere. I can make soap. I can be sewing. I can be doing whatever I want to be doing. And I'm at home. Mm-hmm. So I did that. So that's kind of where this came from.
Yeah. And you have things from other creators too. Like you have the tie-dye from your daughter-in-law and you have Melissa's eggs. And you want to show us some of the stuff that you keep for sale?
These are made by my friend in Petaluma. We used to vend at music festivals together. And they're all vintage glass beads and real stones. Anyway, those are Anne's. Pardon me, my allergies are horrible. This is one of Melissa's Pysanky eggs. It's kind of like batiking on eggs. She draws the design and then she outlines it with wax. And what she wants to dye, that particular color, like the blue, she covers everything else with wax and then dips it in the dye and then takes it out, takes the wax off, and does the whole thing all over again. She's going to be doing her first class pretty soon.
Oh, fun.
So she's doing a test run to see how it goes and then might be offering them to the public.
Oh,
we'll see how this first one goes. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I don't have that much patience to do that. They're beautiful.
I don't have enough skills to do this.
And people will say, oh, well, it's not Easter, like at Christmas time. Well, they could be hung on your Christmas trees. They can just be displayed anywhere. I have a couple in my china cabinet that she's made for me. They're pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Angel Ink is my daughter-in-law, my son. I did tie-dye for a long time, along with the soap and the socks. I was part of that pop-up shop in Quincy. I don't know if you were there then. We did a pop-up store for like 5 years. A bunch of different artists. And I did the tie-dye there in the bamboo socks. Well, at Christmas time, they sell really well. And I had done like 300 pair the Christmas before. And my daughter-in-law was not working. She was pregnant with my grandson. So I asked her if maybe she would be interested in tying them for me. Mm-hmm. And then she got busy anyway. After that Christmas season, I just told them, I'm done with tie-dye. If you guys want to take it on, it's yours. And so Jason and Crystal took it, and they just ran with it. And they've done some incredible tie-dye. But yeah, Jason did tie-dye with me. Kitty.
Oh, I thought it was one of the goats. I thought one of the goats were like getting the mat out from under the door because, you know, they're always portrayed as like eating it. I was like, oh my gosh.
They will get into everything. They don't eat everything, but they'll chew on everything.
Okay, it's just a kitty. It's not a goat on the run, guys.
And she knows she's not supposed to be in here because people don't want cat hair on their products.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, goats going to eat the building. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. So you're saying Crystal, your daughter-in-law, and your son took it over.
Yeah, and she just done really well with it. Jason grew up tie-dyeing with me, so he knew some. But they've done incredible. She took a pause because she went back to school. So she graduates next month, and I don't know if she's going to pick up doing it more or just have it here. And she has in the Quincy Hub too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to go check it out. Quincy Hub. So the pop-up shop that you did, was it like a co-op?
I'm trying to think. Claudia, I can't remember Claudia's last name. She owned the building across the street from the hub, to the right. And it was empty shit and everything going on. And so I have no idea who came up with the idea, but we paid her monthly rent. And then we all took turns working. It was Judy Daly, Lucia, myself. Oh, there was a gentleman, I can't think of his name, that did woodwork. He's since passed. There were a couple of gals that had antiques that set up in there. I'm trying to think who else was in there. There were more artists. There was another gal that does jewelry, and I can't think of Gloria Gibson. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we did it for 4 years, I think. It was a lot of fun. Also very interesting because I thought, I don't know how well this is going to do. The first year we started the end of October, and then we were done by January 1st. It was crazy how many people came into our store that were from the Bay Area or the Valley coming up to see the fall colors. Oh, I had no idea we had that tourist attraction.
Yeah.
So the next year we started a little bit earlier. And then Claudia sold the building, so that kind of put a stop to it. And I know a lot of our customers asked if we would do it year round. But realistically, again, you're not busy all the time. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like me having my store here. I can go 2 weeks without a customer. Mm-hmm. I don't have to pay rent.
Right.
Utilities. No, I don't have to sit out here all day long.
Yeah.
I have my doorbell. So if you want to come shopping and I'm not out here or the signs are turned, ring the doorbell. More than likely I'm in the house and I'll come out.
Yeah. Was that the hardest part of being in the pop-up shop? Just having to be there all day?
It wasn't hard because there were so many of us and we rotated. I think I did 2 days a week.
Okay. So that's not bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
And if it's busy, then it doesn't feel like, twiddling thumbs.
Right. And we didn't have a lot of downtime. It was pretty surprising. It was pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do a shop like that and just I would paint the building pink, of course, and it would be all women's products. I think that would be maybe one day, but the rent is so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And Claudia, it was so cheap. She rented us the space. Pretty much all we had to cover was electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big building, and it was really hard to keep it warm.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Trying to think of what is in that building now. It's the building on, if you're standing facing it, on the right of the smoke shop. I can't even think of the name of that place.
It might be, I wonder if it's Rhythm and Grace, that dance studio. That might not be the right building, though.
No, is it a school or something?
Rhythm and Grace? Or the building?
The building.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go look now. On my way home, I'm going to look.
Yeah.
So so you started with Emily and then Joshua's store. And then you said that you were international. So how long did it take for things to really start picking up? And you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm running a business.
It wasn't very long. Once I got the sign up with Over Coffee and it launched, they took the orders, sent them to me, and they got the payments, and then they took their percentage and paid me the rest. It was just a few months.
Wow.
And like I said, it was wholesale. So I was selling at wholesale stores. I had an account with Rayleigh's.
Good for you.
And I had an account with Pier 1 Imports.
Oh, I love that store. They went out, but yeah, I used to love Pier 1.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't very long, and I was busy. I was a school bus driver.
On top of this.
So I would get up in the morning, go do my morning bus route. I would get home, grab something to eat, a cup of coffee, go up in the attic. It was an unfinished attic in the house that we were living in. And I would go up there and wrap soap and get orders ready. And so I did packaging and putting together 3 days a week, and 2 days a week I made soap. Unless I had a really huge order coming up. Because it takes 3 weeks for the soap to cure before it can be packaged and retail and sold. So yeah, and then I'd go downstairs, and I have an autoimmune disease, so I get really tired. So I'd lay down, take an hour nap, get up, go back to my afternoon bus run, come home, throw something on for dinner, talk to my kids for a few minutes, go back in the attic and put a couple more hours in, and then go down and spend time with my family. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. It was a lot. My daughter and my son helped a lot. And then I had foster kids, and every now and then they pitch in and help do stuff. But yeah, my laundry room was about as big as this shop lengthwise and twice as wide. And it was just one whole wall. It was nothing but racks of soap, carrying all the time. Yeah, it was fun. It was busy. And I was still married when I started doing that. But yeah. Eventually the kids and I insulated the attic room and finished it. Somebody had started to make it into 2 bedrooms. So we finished it so that I could actually be up there working, because I had a little kerosene heater on my work table. And a spotlight so I could see what I was doing. Yeah. Yeah.
How did your family react when things started to really grow?
They were really supportive. My kids were really supportive. They were really proud of me. I did the Chico Thursday night market for 4 years, I think. And they thought it was great to help me load up the car. And I would load everything into my 2-door Chevy Cavalier and the kids.
Oh, my goodness.
And we'd go down Thursday afternoon, do Thursday market, load it all up, and come back home that night. But they like going down and having fun with that. And then one year I just decided, gosh, this is a lot driving down there, and I'm so tired. So I inquired about the Quincy Farmers Market. I thought, people have been telling me, why don't you do the Quincy Farmers Market? It was on Thursday nights too. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I think I was recovering from another back surgery too. My kids were like, I'm like, I don't know. And my kids were like, we'll load the car up. We'll set up. Do it, Mom. And it was on Harbison then. So we loaded up and did the first market there. And I did as well there as I did in Chico. So we did that until it shut down.
Wow. Did you ever get an order that you thought, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this?
I did. A really interesting, funny story. I guess I was into the business 2 years, and I get a phone call, and it's this man. And he said, we want to carry your products. I'm like, okay. And it was one of those infomercials. And if you buy this, you get this and you get this.
Oh my gosh.
And they wanted to do that with my soap.
Like a QVC type thing?
Uh-huh. And I'm like, oh, there's no way. And I said, there's no way I could do this. Well, he called 3 different times. Finally, the last time, I said, look, I do this at home. Right. 1 batch at a time. I get 30 bars of soap out of each batch. And the milk comes from my daughter's goats. I had a friend that was also giving me milk. And there's no way I can do this. Oh, well, here's the thing. We're going to get your recipe and we're going to turn it over to a manufacturer. And I said, oh, no, you're not. Because in commercial soap manufacturing, they take the glycerin out of the soap and sell it separately. They also do other things that it's not good for your skin. And they don't use all natural organic products, obviously. So I just told him, no, there's just no way. And he said, well, we'll patent your recipe for you. And I still said no. I'm just a home cottage artist, and I just want to keep it that way. I don't want to be industrial. And I said, and that's a lot of soap. I said, how much are you talking? And he said, we need 1,000 bars to start with. And then, do you have something that could go with it? And I said, well, I do bath salts. And he said, well, we need some of those too, so we can pitch that in as a freebie. And I was like, absolutely not. So my ex-husband was really mad at me for turning that down.
Yeah. And
I was like, no, it wouldn't be mine anymore. It would belong to Johnson & Johnson or somebody else.
Yeah. So. And I'm sure over time they would have pushed you out completely at some point. Good for you.
Yeah. I had an account in Japan. They ordered for a couple of years. And also I had one in England. And doing the duty and all that was really interesting, because the one in Japan, the gal called me and I calculated it all up, and I called her back and I said, it's going to cost you twice what the product is just to ship it to you, which means you're going to have to sell a bar of soap for I think it was $11 a bar. Back then I was selling them retail for $3 a bar. And she said, that's okay. Send it. So I did. Yeah. And I had a couple of stores. When the Twin Towers went down, I had a couple of gift shops down there.
In New York?
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was kind of sad. But, yeah.
You're like our little local soap celebrity.
Well, it's kind of funny. Everything goes in waves. When I first started making soap, there weren't very many handmade soap makers out there, especially goat milk. Mm-hmm. And it's like a 5-year wave. And then about 5 years into my business, everybody was making soap. And then my friends, everybody like, it's going to kill you. And I'm like, no, it's not. My product's been out there. People know it. I would go to craft fairs, and I would ask that if there were other soap makers, don't put us right next to each other. The one show in particular did it for a few years. They would put a new soap maker across the way from me. And it just broke my heart, because I had my name out there. They were trying, and I didn't want them to get discouraged. So then about 5 years later, nobody's making soap again. So it just goes in this wave. And my products have just held their own.
I think a lot of people get scared to see other people do the same thing they're doing, and they get nervous about competition, and I think that leads to like gatekeeping, and I think that fear is part of why sometimes the crafting community is not super friendly to each other. But I mean, I think it's beautiful that you were worried about the other person,
Yeah, and I would always talk to them, or they'd come over and talk to me, and I'd give them little hints on things I could do, to improve their packaging or their product or whatever. In fact, I met a gal last year at Lisa's. I only did one of her markets, and a little gal from Chico, a little kid, breaking out on her own, and she had beautiful soap. And she came over and she said, I think I'm just going to give it all away and pack up. And I said, why would you do that? Well, your packaging, your product is so beautiful. I said, honey, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Don't give up. Just keep doing it. And she said, well, a friend of mine taught her how to make soap because she was a new single mom and having another baby and needed to support herself. And so she taught her how to make the soap and told her, now go sell it. And I told her, don't give up, keep selling it. I don't know if she did or not, but it was so cute.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you're not going to compete against me because I've been doing it too long.
Right.
And I have more than just soap.
Right. I think every business has their own little niche. We don't need to.
You have to find your place.
Yes, exactly. And if you are doing something and you're staying true to yourself, no one can ever duplicate that.
Right, exactly.
And it's not just about the soap. It's about people buy it because of you. And that's not something anybody can duplicate, So.
Yeah. And everything comes from here on the farm.
Which is really special.
Yeah. And I do make everything from scratch in my kitchen except for my lotion base. I have that made for me, and then I add the goat milk and the essential oils and whatnot to it.
So how do you think your lotions and your products in general, I know you mentioned that when it goes to a big manufacturer, they take the glycerin out of it. So what would you tell people about how natural products like this differ from something they would buy at a grocery store from Johnson & Johnson or someone?
Well, you need to read your ingredients. Parabens are really bad for you. There are a lot of different chemicals. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you what they are. But yeah, you want good, clean ingredients because whatever you put on your skin is going to get absorbed in. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to put toxic chemicals on your skin. You don't want to put it in your body. So yeah, just read your labels.
Yeah. And you don't want to eat all kinds of gross stuff. And we've talked off camera before. We both kind of have the same viewpoints on the food that's available to us now. And you make a lot of your own products. Like, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff you make and how it's made a difference?
Food-wise?
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting back to it because, again, I lost my whole life in the Dixie Fire. But I used to grow all my own food. I never really thought about it. My mother would always say, how much do you spend a month on groceries? And maybe $50. When my home was gone, the homeowner's insurance was trying to figure out what to give me. He asked, we need to figure out what your living expenses are as to how much we're going to cut to you every month. And I was like, okay. And he said, well, how much do you spend on groceries? And I said, maybe $50 a month. And he's like, oh, good God, what do you eat? And I said, well, I have a garden and I grow all my veggies and I can. And I did dehydrating. I have my own goats. I have my own milk for my yogurt, my cheese. Yeah, there you have it. So I didn't buy a whole lot of groceries. I bought like coffee and I baked all my own bread. I still do that. I actually had a home kitchen permit when I lived in Greenville, a cottage kitchen permit. And I sold jams and jellies and bread. And
wow, you do it all.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I've thought about it and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore.
It's just a lot of work, a lot of time.
Yeah. And during the summer, it's too hot to be baking loaves of sourdough bread or pies, or and my yard is not there yet.
Yeah.
Because in Greenville, I had a beautiful peach tree. I made peach jam and peach pies and all that good stuff. We're getting there.
Yeah, that my grandma, she would always make peach cobbler or blackberry pies. So it's really special how certain recipes and certain foods become really sentimental. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm Hispanic, and my grandmother was from south of the border, and it's always I make tortillas. And now I'm making sourdough tortillas, but every time...
Sourdough tortillas? Oh my God, they're amazing. Sounds really good. Every time
I'm making them, the rolling pin, I had my grandmother's rolling pin in Greenville, and it was just a piece of pipe. It was just a piece of pipe. And when you would walk into my grandmother's house, you could hear that hitting the, cutting the countertop. Ka-kunk, ka-kunk. And after the fire, I was like, I don't have my grandmother's rolling pin. I did find it. I do have it. I will never use it for food again.
Yeah.
But I do have it. A friend of mine, they were cleaning out her husband's parents' house, and she gave me a wood tortilla rolling pin. And it's like, you would think that it wouldn't make a difference, but you have to have the right shape to get the right shape of tortillas. But every time I make tortillas, I can hear my grandmother's hand clunk, 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 clunk.
Oh, that's really special.
Yeah.
She's like speaking to you through the making tortillas.
Yep. It's like smells take you back home.
That smells as like our strongest memory.
Well, my almond cream lotion and oatmeal almond soap. The first time I made it, my grandmother, I could smell Jergens lotion being swathered all over my whole body, because, that's what you did back then. And I have people that will get the almond lotion, and they always like, oh my gosh, it smells like when I was a kid.
When you make the soaps, does it have a certain smell? Yeah.
Yeah. My house usually smells really good.
Yeah. Like super fresh, I bet.
Yeah. When I first started, we lived in a rental, and it was a farmhouse, and I had foster kids and my own children. And then we had to move because I sold the house, and I bought my own little house in Greenville. One of my foster daughters would come by every few weeks, and every time she came through the door, she'd go, oh my God, it smells like home. How could this house smell like home?
The soap.
The soap.
Yeah. What type of licensing or permits or anything do you have to make soaps or lotions, or do you have to have something different for each product?
No. You don't have to have anything for body care products. You can't claim that they have any kind of healing products in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also make essential oils. And I gifted arnica. Yeah. Rosanna told me that arnica, it helps with like bumps and goose eggs and
bruises.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably the last of it here. I have more in the house. My parents used to winter. They lived in Mexico during the winter. And I had heard about arnica. I never used it. I think Lannis at Lupin's told me about it. My grandson was at the playground in Greenville, the bouncy house that they used to have in Greenville. That's what it was. They used to do it once a week. And him and another kid crashed heads in this huge goose egg. And one of the parents, I guess, was there and said, go to Lannis's and get some arnica. I'll take it right away. So I went down and got this arnica gel, and I put it on his head. He had a huge goose egg. By the time I went home, it was gone.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So I was in Mexico visiting my parents, and there's this shop down there that has fresh herbs and stuff. So I went in there, and I saw arnica flowers. I was like, wow. So I bought it, brought it home, and made my own arnica essential oils. But it's kind of a wildflower in Mexico.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
How do you extract oils out of things?
I just take and put the dried flowers in sweet almond oil. It's a really good carrier oil, and it doesn't go rancid very easily. So I will put them in the jar, shake it up, and just stuck it away. For the first couple of weeks, every time I walk by, I'll shake it, but it means to be in a dark place. And it uses it. I have a friend that has a magic butter machine, and I've also used that, and it's like almost instant. It's done.
Wow. And it's an instant butter machine?
It's called a magic butter machine, and you put the oils and your herbs and stuff in there, and it heats it to the right temperatures and blends it and mixes it and makes the herbs really, really fine. And then you strain it out. Voila. There you have it. Oh, dear.
Nope. It went. Okay. Came and went. Okay.
So leave the door open.
This is real life, girls. Okay. This is raw and unedited. And so it sounds like it's a machine to make infused butters. And then also I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
They're really nice. I had thought about buying one, but my kitchen is really small. I don't have a lot of room for extra gadgets.
Yeah.
So I just do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. We have a few gadgets and they are clunky and they take up a lot of room. Mm-hmm. But I do use my Instapot a lot.
Yeah.
I love my Instapot.
That's how I make my yogurt. It's awesome. I milk the goat, take a gallon of milk in, pour it in the Instant Pot, and then I whip up my starter with a little bit of milk in my magic bullet. And whisk that all in, put the lid on it, push the yogurt button, and the next day I have yogurt.
That's awesome. Is it like a probiotic starter?
No, I just take plain yogurt. Once I get going for the year, I just use my own yogurt to get a new batch going.
I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. So if you go over to eat at somebody's house and it's like processed stuff, is it hard for you to eat out places?
Not as much as it used to be. Pretty much before the fire, I didn't eat it. I hardly ever ate any meat. It was just, yeah. But people are going to eat the way they eat.
Yeah.
And I don't go out to eat a lot. I mean, I go to Reno, doctors and whatnot. It seems like I'm always eating out over there, but we try to find decent places to eat.
Yeah.
And if somebody invited us over and they did like a roast, I wouldn't have any meat. I would have everything else. Mm-hmm.
Are you like more leaning towards like grass fed? Like, do you do anything like that? Or are you just like, I just don't like meat at all?
Oh, I like meat. I do grass fed, organic. And my children all pretty much eat the way I do. So it's easy to go to meals at their houses.
Yeah.
And my friends are not offended if I don't eat something because they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. And I guess we don't really have a lot of eating options out here anyways. Like we don't have a lot of restaurants or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do McDonald's or Burger King. And I'm a little terrified of what they're putting out, the fake meats.
Oh, yeah, like the Beyond Meats and stuff.
I can't remember where it was. It was a fast food place. And I was really tired. I'd been in Reno having a treatment done. And I also wanted to do was get some food, come home. And I went through a drive-thru, and I can't remember where, but I got a chicken sandwich and french fries. And I took one bite of the chicken sandwich, and it felt like rubber in my mouth. So I pulled over and looked at it, and I went, this isn't real chicken. So it went in the wastebasket. And I pretty much have not done drive-through fast food since then. It's like, I don't know what that was.
Yeah. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Could have been a human cheek for all we know.
I just think the Petri dish foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing now. They're taking that cell and...
I watched a video one time and they were doing shrimp. And they took the cells and put it in a Petri dish and did their thing. And you're watching this glob of pink stuff just grow. And I'm like... No. If I'm going to eat shrimp, I want it to come out of the ocean.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little scary what they're doing. Do you butcher your chickens? Just eggs, chickens? They're just for eggs?
They're just for eggs, yeah. When my kids were growing up, we would butcher the roosters. My kids would do it. I've never done it.
Too hard.
yeah, I just raise them.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
Yeah, but we used to raise a goat a year to put in our freezer. And again, I didn't do it. I wouldn't go out and look at it until it was just the carcass hanging.
Oh, yeah, that would be hard. I don't know if I'd be able to do it. My grandpa used to go fishing, and I couldn't even watch them do that to the fish.
Right.
It's hard.
It is hard, but you have to eat.
Yeah.
And up here, living where we live, I mean, there's so many ranchers and hunters and all that, but no, I can't do it.
I can't either. And it is a more like natural way of life. You know, I think that is better than Petri dish food.
Yes.
For sure, but doesn't make it any less heartbreaking.
No. As I always tell people, I don't have the rancher mentality. I don't. You know, my daughter did, raising of goats, but never me.
Yeah. Was it hard when the animals would sell at the events?
Yes. Well, the first couple of years with each of the kids was really, really hard because they get attached to them. I mean, they're their friends, their pets, they've worked with them. But it's a cycle of life. We gave them a really good life while they were here. And now they're going to go put nourishment in somebody's home. Mm-hmm. So you just have to kind of look at it like that. When my oldest son, the first few years that he did hogs, I would stay at camp. I would go down for the auction, and then I'd go stay at camp until the animals were loaded on the truck and gone.
Yeah.
It's easier now because I'm older and I've done it enough times.
Do you have any advice for any parents that have children that want to get into 4-H or any type of livestocking?
It's a great program. It really is. They learn so many good life skills that they're not learning elsewhere anymore. The responsibility. They learn bookkeeping, responsibility. It keeps them out of trouble. People say, oh, my kids, they can't do it all. They can't play sports and do school and do the animal. My kids did it. Jen was a trooper because she would get up in the morning, go feed her goats milk. And sometimes she was milking 5 does before school. And then go to school and then come home, grab a snack, and go do her animals, and then go back to practice because she played every sport there was. And then come home, do her homework, go to bed, and get up and do it all over again. She didn't have time to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And then almost every weekend through the spring, summer, and fall, we were on the road doing shows all over Northern California. And my younger son, Jason, he would troop along with us. Yeah. It just teaches them so much that they're not going to learn elsewhere.
It sounds like a good opportunity for you guys to bond.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you learned a lot from it too. Like now you have goats.
Yeah. I learned a lot.
And you said that your business, it's died a few times and has come back. What are your thoughts on that and why that happens and what that means for you?
Well, obviously the universe wants me to keep doing what I'm doing, especially after the fire, because I really was done. It's just my destiny, I guess. And I guess I make a good product. I guess. I don't know. It's just something I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it's a little hard to get motivated. I'm really slacking on keeping my soap up, but I'm working on that.
Yeah.
And now that spring and summer is here, it's going to be harder because I'd rather be outside than in the kitchen making soap.
That's true. I didn't think of that. Mm-hmm. Do you ever get a little stir crazy in the house making all the soaps?
Sometimes. Yeah.
And do you have any advice for the women that you see out there, like the one that wanted to give up, or any flaws that you see people do, or like common mistakes? Or
you just got to keep going. I mean, you're going to make mistakes and things are going to go wrong. At one point in time,
I was having soap failure after soap failure. And just batch after batch of soap was failing. And what'll happen is it'll separate out and the lye will separate out and you just have this goopy, nasty mess and it never will cure. And I was ready to quit. I was about done. And I thought, well, okay, I'm getting milk from somebody else. I'm just going to make a couple of batches with our milk and see if maybe that's a problem. Well, inadvertently, the gal I was getting the milk from told somebody else, oh, I take cream out of all of the milk I sell to Rosanna. The cream makes the soap. So just keep going. Yeah, there's a solution for everything out there. I know a lot of research because I took a basic recipe and tweaked things to make it my very own. And again, there were failures, but you just keep going and take it right. Packaging. When I first started, I had my soap was all wrapped in handmade papers, which can be really expensive. And I guess about 5 years into it, I was at my brother's house and he had unwrapped soap in the bathroom. I'm like, why aren't you using this? And his wife said, because it's too pretty. It looks too pretty. And I was like, well, I make it so you can use it. And a friend of mine said, well, it's too pretty to use. What are you going to do? And I went, and that same trip to my brother's, I went in the other bathroom and there was a bar of soap and I went to pick it up. And he had cut a hole in the packaging and took the soap out and flipped up the packaging and put it back in the soap. I don't know if his wife knew we did that. And I just thought, oh, how funny. So I went to very generic, recycled, plain craft tissue paper. And I sell way more soap because people started using it.
So that's kind of counterintuitive almost.
Mm-hmm. So I had these beautiful soaps and people weren't using it. So they didn't know.
This is a soap. People didn't even want to use it because it was so pretty.
Uh-huh.
And if they're not using it,
they're not going to rebuy.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is recycled.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's cool.
It's recycled tissue paper.
I like it. It's very, I think it dropped my chapstick that I'm going to be buying, by the way. So you do chapstick too. And you have face masks. I love the baby tea bags.
Uh-huh.
Those are really nice.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring those back, but I have a new grandson. So I thought I made baby bathrobes for my daughter's baby shower for her. And I thought, well, I guess I'll bring the baby bathrobes back. People like them. I have adults that buy them.
And are they just, tell us a little bit more about the bathrobes. Are they like relaxing or are they soothing for the skin or everything?
Soothing for the skin. If the original thought was for diaper rash, heat rash, babies get those things. Mm-hmm. And goat milk is really good for it. So I went online and came up with ingredients to make a really nice baby bathrobe that would be soothing and calming for really cranky, tired babies that are teething, or if they're having heat rash or diaper rash. And it seems to work. I didn't have babies when my babies were not babies when I made it. So
sorry you guys missed out.
But yeah, my daughter likes them.
Yeah. And I like that you have stuff for everyone.
Yeah, the lip balm. My daughter had a business. It was called Angel Kisses. Mm-hmm. The name of our herd of goats is Angel Kisses because they were her goats. She launched her own body care business for a while. And she did lip balms, cooling and soothing, muscle balms, and all this other stuff. And people keep asking me for her products. So I made lip balms for Christmas a couple of years ago. And I'm making lip balms. So I'm trying to encourage her to go back into business. Because she makes really good body care products. My kids growing up, I made their lip balms. I made all their body care products before I had Heavens. And my daughter asked me, she had moved out, and she said, can I borrow some of your books because I want to make some face masks and I want to make some lip balms. I said, sure. And when she started doing it, I just said, you know what? I'm not making it anymore. If it doesn't have goat milk in it, I'm not making it. I'm tired. So she launched her own business, Angel Kisses, for a couple of years. And then she quit and went to school for massage and did that for a few years and opened her own massage parlor and then closed that down. So now she's kind of thinking about maybe doing her body care products again, which is a really nice compliment to mine.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to give us like a little tour?
Here we have Melissa Hayes's crochet and her beautiful hand-done wax dyed high Sankey eggs. And then over here we have Angel Ink's bamboo tie-dyed socks. These socks are incredible. They last for forever. And she does a great job out of them. We're coming on music festival season, and we have thigh-high tie-dyed socks.
Awesome.
And then here we have gift boxes. I've been doing gift boxes for Easter and for Mother's Day that's coming up. We have my foot care products, and there's a whole process you can do if you want a whole foot spa. Most of my gift baskets are a home spa in a box. And then this is all my goat milk soap. Down here we have the felted goat milk soap. I'm hoping to start sourcing local wool again. I haven't been able to do that since the fire.
So does it act like a loofah?
It's a washcloth and soap all in one.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. It smells so good. The second you pick it up, you can smell it.
Yeah. And then more gift baskets. I've just added baby products back. So I have the baby bath herbs. We have the baby lotion. And then the real gentle soaps. And more gift sets. And then sugar scrub. I did sugar scrub because I don't like the stingy salts. Mm-hmm. Lip balms. And then, of course, most people know my hand and body lotion. I also make earrings. I will get back into that eventually. And all my earrings are allergy-free metals. Mm-hmm. And then we have the face care products, which are a big seller. I sell a lot of the face moisturizer and then Angel Face and Angel Face mask. The guest soaps, those can be specialized for weddings and showers and whatever else.
Oh, weddings.
Mm-hmm. On the back, I used to do them, and I had them on my website. I could put on the back whatever the name is or whatever. Thank you for coming. But I love the one that said, from my shower to yours.
Oh, that's cute.
Like the guest soaps. And then I do some clothing. I do the rompers that I haven't made any this year. And then we have Angel Ink tie-dye, and she's brought in some beautiful dresses. We have totes. And if there's something that you would like that you don't see, we can always ask her if she has it in stock to bring it in.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
And what is probably your favorite product here, or one of, because I know that's hard?
Well, the soap, I have not bought a regular bar of soap since 1998. So I don't even know what a bar of soap costs now. The lotion, it's non-greasy. You put it on, it soaks in. You can go in and do the dishes and you can feel that your hands are still protected. The face moisturizer, I've never worn makeup. I can't stand anything on my face. And my mother kept hounding me about, you're getting to that age. You really need to start using a face moisturizer. And Mary Kay makes the best one.
Oh, yeah.
My aunt was a Mary Kay saleswoman. I don't like all the ingredients.
Right.
So I did my own face moisturizer. And I love it because you put it on, it soaks in, you don't feel like you have gunk all over your face. Mm-hmm. And it's great for during the winter when your hands and feet are cracking. Mm-hmm. It's really good at getting everything softened up.
And how much is this jar here? Or
the regular face moisturizer is $12.
That's really good for 4 ounces. This is a nice size jar.
Yeah, I have nieces that used to be in the body care product, and they're always telling me, you need to raise that to like $25. I'm like, no. I wanted to make it affordable.
Yeah.
I was that broke mom all the time, and I couldn't imagine spending. Of course, I always tell my daughter I'm going to have to raise my soap prices here pretty soon because I have to use new molds. I can't use the PVC pipe molds anymore, the round bars. And these bars are 1.5 ounces heavier than my old bars.
So you're getting more for a raised price.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this shaving soap.
Yeah, see, that's what my old soap molds were, but now I've had to go to these.
Mm-hmm.
You get a bigger bar. I tried making them smaller, and they just look too weird.
Yeah.
So, but I always tell her, I can't imagine paying $7 for a bar of soap.
Mm-hmm.
But it sets up really good. Yeah.
Perfect. So any closing thoughts or any advice for women that just in any kind of business, just women in business in general?
If you have an idea, go with it. Before I started making soap, I made apple roses. I saw it in a magazine or something and picked up an apple and made an apple rose, and I sold those like crazy for a few years. Whatever your heart desire is, but also realize tie-dye. I love doing tie-dye, but when it became a business, it was work. It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't enjoy doing it anymore. So make sure whatever you're going to do, make it into a business you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Because you can get really tired of it.
That's true.
And you have to leave room for yourself and take care of yourself too.
Absolutely. And what are your hours here for the store, or how can people reach you outside of that?
I have a Facebook page, and I try to keep it updated. I'm really working hard on keeping regular hours. But since I live right here and my children live right here, sometimes I'm not always home. So I'm really trying to be really good about posting on my Facebook page regular hours that I will be here. Or if something comes up and I have to leave, I put it on there. My phone number's on my Facebook page because I don't have a website anymore. Give me a call.
All right.
Or like I said, if you pull in, the close sign's out, push the doorbell on the store door.
We'll show the people where it's at. So that way you guys can't say you didn't see it. It is right here.
Yeah, if I'm home, I'll come out. As long as I'm home, I'm open. I just don't always get down to change the signs.
Oh, just peeing.